pretty sure you're talking.
I can see.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of VCCLive. My name is Kevin Skipper, and these are our co-hosts. I always get that wrong. Jay DeLuco.
Yes, I'm
from Massachusetts. Nick Green from California, with special guest this week, Ruby Roo.
Hey.
And then we have our new permanent and fourth final co-host, Matt Culley from Montana.
Hi.
Otherwise known as... You know what that reminded me of? I'm going to start off wrong. Have you guys watched SNL back in the 90s and they had the sweaty balls skit?
Oh, God.
And Alec Baldwin came on and he's like, hi. That's exactly what it reminded me of. Yeah. Anyway, happy Friday, everyone. How's things going? What's up?
Good. Things are good. Mm-hmm. We just had a busy week here in Cali doing vlogging and podcasting and videos, and we found some time to drink beer and go to the beach, so that was good.
Got a sunburn.
Got a wicked sunburn.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Cali life.
I
thought it was the tint of the camera or something. You guys look a little pinkish, but no, I guess it's...
No, it's our skin.
It's because of the sun.
Yeah, we've had rain for like 12 days straight here in Florida, so I think we have a little sun out today, but I wouldn't know because I'm closed up in an office with the window shut, so anyway.
Yeah.
Jay, how's things? I know you're a little under the weather, but so tell us about that.
Yes, my nose is running, my stomach hurts, and like I was saying earlier, I think I'm probably just about done with this life.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Yeah, it's time for me to pass on to the second level of whatever.
Transcendentalism.
It's been a crazy week, certainly. Dealing with the advocacy stuff here in Massachusetts, trying to support the vendors here, and then obviously trying to get all my ducks in a row as a manufacturer. It's been a little nutty, but I got through it. Here it is, Friday.
It is indeed, yep. This was the week of August 8th, the aftermath. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, and we're definitely going to be covering it next week with Azim Chowdhury from Keller and Heckman. He'll be on. I'm swinging in my chair. I don't know why. Anyway, if you're listening on the podcast at some point in the future, you can't see that. So,
are you feeling dainty?
I don't know. I have anti-leg syndrome or something.
Gotta pee or something, buddy?
No, I did all those things in preparation. So, Matt, how are things, man? Tell us what's going on, and are you excited to be here? Or?
We had a wicked flood when we got back from Pennsylvania, and we couldn't go in our basement for like over a week, so that sucked. But it's all fixed now. Then this week was obviously crazy. Everybody's been freaking out. Been on the phone with a lot of people for long periods of time, but I don't know. We're alive. We are all alive.
We are, and that's the goal that we've been trying to tell everyone. I mean, the world doesn't end, the world changes, but you either change and adjust and work with it and bend it back to your will, or you suck it up and quit. So anyway, we're not quitters. I have Facebook open on another screen, so if you hear dinging, sorry about that, because there's a few things I want to talk about in a little bit. So Matt, why don't you what you're telling us before we went live, is that something you want to share on air, or?
Sure. I don't know the extent of it. I talked to a few advocates about it last night, but apparently there was some different. There's some different stories out there of vendors getting some of their shipments seized over the last couple days. I think quite a few of them was yesterday, seized or held, whatever you want to call it. But I think. It doesn't shock me if that's the route the FDA is going first. I mean, that's what they did back. What was it? The last time.
That's what caused the whole Cetera lawsuit.
I mean, it's kind of like going to the root of the problem. If you really want to fuck with these companies, go after the imports. But I don't know the whole story. I talked to one vendor about it that got his stuff seized, and they said that he was missing paperwork and his paperwork was off by like $20 or something. But then I've also heard of other stories of how these other vendors are have been for a long time claiming less than what it was. Now that they're trying to be more accurate with it, red flags are going off with that too. So
Well, I'm kind of confused because last week we did a whole show on exactly what was happening and what was changing on August 8th. What exactly did they give you a reason why they were seizing their shipments or impeding their imports of products?
well, if for example a company has always been claiming that their this shipments are worth $3,000 or something, and then all of a sudden they start claiming the accurate amount, which is maybe 20,000 or something like that, there's going to be red flags going off. But I think they're looking for any little reason. Like the guy that I talked to, it was like he claimed over on accident by $20, and it was supposed to be like 10,780, and he claimed 10,800. And they even held it for that. So it kind of seems like they're just doing it to fuck with people. Pardon my French.
No, this is a fuck using program.
Okay.
We have the disclaimer at the beginning. We determined that in the first or second episode, I think we determined that this was going to be cussing allowed. I mean, not every other word, but we can certainly say fuck it and stuff like that.
And
So anyway,
it's afternoon Eastern, so we can drink too.
yeah. Well, I'm still having coffee, so.
I did talk to one of the advocates out there. I won't name names, and he said that it doesn't surprise him because apparently people were like asking his organization about imports like months ago. Government agencies were asking, like just kind of like looking into it. So I don't know. I think it could be a story that we'll see. It's something new, but we'll see. We'll hear more about it over the next couple of days.
Well, it's pretty interesting. I'm
I
sure
don't
we.
want to speculate too much.
This isn't something that we really even thought about or touched on over the last few weeks leading up to August 8th was, what could possibly result in the seizure of or holding up of imports. We never really even considered that. So.
Well, I think maybe they've been looking like Matt was saying. Maybe they've been looking at doing it, continuing and resuming their harassment of imports at the borders for probably quite a while. They probably waited until August 8th so that they were legally deemed tobacco products again. That's my guess. But
it seems like they're trying to confuse the Chinese shippers too. Like the guy showed me the message that his the Chinese company sent him that was shipping him the product, and the guy said the Chinese company said the customs told us that we needed FDA approval documents for this package, but like there are no such thing yet.
That's not real.
Yeah, it's not a thing. It's not a thing
So
yet.
I don't know. It could. I'm gonna try to figure out more.
yeah,
And
definitely.
give you an update next week.
Yeah, try to find out more, and we'll ask Azim his stance while we have him on live.
Yeah.
So that'll be pretty cool.
Well, and there's a lot of people who, with the new FDA regulations, they go, well, how are they going to stop me from ordering from China, after these regulations?
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
Customs.
Here you go.
this is how.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I would just suggest to everyone to be very, very accurate with what you're claiming and get a customs lawyer if you are having, if you end up having problems. I guess
Yes,
there is such a
every
thing.
consumer should have a customs lawyer now.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I think he's talking about wholesalers and importers.
I'm
I
thinking
know,
of
I know.
wholesalers, but yeah, maybe we should just all get one. Well, I'll keep one on retainer.
Everyone should just go to law school. Everybody.
Yeah.
With all the money you're saving on cigarettes, it should be pretty easy.
Yeah, you can afford law school.
And even then, I don't know if it would help you too much. It's just you're still going to be tied up in waiting. That's the thing with the government. They can do whatever they want to do and then say sorry later.
Yep.
We can't do we're not supposed to. We're supposed to be able to in the United States do whatever we want to do and then make the government. The government. Again, I say this probably quite frequently on here, but the government works for us. They are our representatives. It's not the other way around.
Yep.
That's not the system we live in. So
in
I
theory.
think we and if actually that's a good time to look at our quote up top here from one of the founding fathers, James Madison. I believe there are more instances of the abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachments of those in power than by violent and sudden usurpations. What that means is, to me anyway, what that means is gradually over years and slowly the government takes and infringes and people get used to it. And they're like, oh, it's not so bad. Oh, it's not so bad. And then 100 years later, you look back and think, wow, this is not the country that was founded.
Yeah, that's the boiling
This
frog.
is the frog, and put a frog in a pot of room temperature water, and then turn the pot on to boil. And by the time the water's boiling, he won't even realize what's happened to him. And that's exactly what happens. Exactly what happens in U.S. society. If we went back to the founding principles of this country, if James Madison were here today, he would be having heart attacks and I don't know. Just he's probably rolling over in his grave. All the founding fathers are. So what they're saying, there is no. The government knows exactly what it's doing, and the people in power know exactly what they're doing. It's not something where they're gonna, unless you do like Pennsylvania, of course, and you're gonna get a huge uprising where they suddenly I don't know about unexpectedly, but suddenly pass a massive tax on a product as part of a larger bill.
That was a mistake.
Yeah,
I think that.
So that was they probably could have worked their magic a little better and had it done with very little to no resistance over the course of a year or two. But anyway, yeah. So this is how we lose our freedoms in the United States. It's a very gradual and slow decline of something that was once great, and that's terrible. Sorry about adjusting my hat. I can't get the gator straight. It drives me crazy when I see it there. But anyway, yeah. So, why are they seizing shipments? Because they can. I mean, the burden is on you to prove that you filled out the paperwork correctly. And if you're off by $20 and they want to be a dick about it, even if you reported $20 more, they're going to seize your shit. That's just the way it is, man.
Just
So
flexing their muscles.
if they're right, they're trying to make an example out of certain people and try to scare people into saying, you know what, this isn't even worth it. We're just going to quit. And then what's the end result of that? People continue to smoke, people continue to die, but they continue to make money from tobacco revenues. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it. I mean, if you're working in government, instead of going and, your first thing being going after these individual shops, like go to where they get their products. That's
Right.
That's going to shut them down. So
If stores don't have products to sell and customers that are coming in don't see something that interests them in the store, they're going to stop patronizing the store. The stores will close. And yeah, so that's something that I guess we never really talked about until now. But it's something that probably every person who imports products from outside of the United States needs to consider. And I know we joke about it, and people always want to give a hard time to attorneys and stuff, but ultimately they're your best friend. Find a good attorney, find someone who knows customs law, import law, federal law, and hire them. Because they're less likely to fuck with you if you have someone who knows what they're talking about and someone who knows what they're doing and knows how the form should be filled out. And even if your stuff is seized, can call them and have it unseized for you within a short period of time, and you can continue business as usual. Try to do it yourself as a normal, everyday, hardworking businessman. You're screwed. So anyway,
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit last week. I fully thought that the FDA is going to be going after low-hanging fruit, so obvious violators of whatever these new regulations mean. Unfortunately, like most of us, I didn't see this coming with actually seizing or delaying shipments coming into the country. But ultimately, I think that's still what we're going to see. They're going to go after the low-hanging fruit, the first-time business owners that really don't have their shit together. Or
even people that have been doing this for a few years that weren't doing it correctly.
Yeah, or people who aren't paying attention.
Well, and some of the names that Matt mentioned before we went live are certainly not people who I think are not paying attention.
That's why
right?
I say, I certainly didn't see this coming with them starting to seize shipments again.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be an interesting thing to look at over the next couple of weeks.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to hop over to the right screen for a minute, and I didn't tell any of the co-hosts about what I want to talk about, but I want to flip over here for a second and get you guys to look at this and get your opinions on this. I'm seeing a lot of this bullshit lately, and I can't figure out why. So here we have some picture that somebody made. What the VTA is really doing with your money. I don't really get it. I don't understand the Dr. Krimi's reference in the picture, and then you have Tony Abood. I'm not sure who that is. Dimitri, Phil.
Putin.
Greg Conley. We have all these people in this picture that someone decided to make, and then
I think that's Ron Culley.
Ron Culley, okay,
Yeah.
from one of the board directors of VTA, and he owns. I can't remember the name of the company. It's a very
Next
huge,
Gen
Next Gen Labs.
Labs.
Yeah. So this guy's actually trying to get people to like defend them or whatever, and somewhere further down here, the people are just basically. They're saying that these people are profiting from advocacy. I'm trying to find exactly which one I was looking at. I have it on Dimitri's screen as well from something else that was posted.
Because basically Greg Connolly does, he does nothing. He just chills by the poolside.
Right. I was going to
say
he is literally paid to advocate.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? What's the problem with that? That's what
he
we
flies
need.
all over the country putting out fires everywhere.
Yeah, in every.
He should be starving.
Right.
He should be starving, living on bologna and ramen noodles.
By the same token, Phil more so lately, he hasn't really been vocal about advocacy, but he and Dimitri are on the board for Sevia USA, and I mean Dimitri. I haven't talked to Dimitri much in the last couple of months, but I know for a fact that Dimitri is one of the hardest working advocates this industry will ever have. I don't know Tony Abood that well. I've only talked to him vaguely, online a little bit, and we shared some information and conversations. I've never met Ron Tolley, but these three guys for sure, I can tell you, if they say that they're taking in money for advocacy, let me switch back over to us real quick because I want to look at people in the eye that are watching this. If they say they're taking money for advocacy, you can bet your sweet ass they're taking money for advocacy. It's not lining their pockets, so shut the fuck up because it drives me crazy. I'm an advocate and I don't work. I'm also a single dad, so I can't travel as much as Dimitri does. And I don't think Greg has kids. Phil doesn't either. So they have the ability to travel more so than I do. But I can tell you this, even without traveling, I work my ass off for advocacy in this industry. And to even see this stuff, and I know you got to have thick skin to be in this industry and to be an advocate because there are so many selfless things that you do that go unrecognized and unnoticed. And you're not, most advocates aren't in this for a pat on the back anyway. That's not my point. But you certainly don't want to see bullshit like this. That's ridiculous.
I have a little rant about this one.
Go, have at it.
Go, Matt, go.
If you want to hear it. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah. Stretch.
I need to wake up. This drama's been building over the last couple of weeks, and I looked into it a little bit. Well, first off, it kind of all started with, when people are upset and scared, they always look for, people to blame. And there's been a lot of finger pointing at advocacy organizations as a whole. Basically, a group of people. Well, I'll give the whole backstory. Ron Tully owns Next Gen Labs. They make TFN, tobacco-free nicotine. He's also making a closed system device using the Vape by X technology. He doesn't own Vape by X, though, I don't believe. And so, him or his company made some statement saying that this was going to be an industry standard. And so people took that as Ron Tully wants to kill open systems, right? And so then I'll connect all the dots to why people are saying that these guys are corrupt, and it's bullshit. Because Phil and Dimitri are board members of Sevia, and they run Sevia, and Sevia is a member of VTA. Then that means that Sevilla and Phil and Dimitri are in cahoots and in bed with this guy and want to kill Ron Tully and want to kill closed systems as well. But using that reasoning, everybody in VTA wants to kill open systems, I'm sorry. But majority of the companies in VTA are open system companies, so it doesn't really make any sense. But that's kind of how all the drama started, and now it's been, everybody's saying that Phil and Dimitri are part of Vape.ix, and they're secretly trying to kill Open Vapor and whatever. And when I first heard about the drama, I kind of looked into it and tried to look for proof of this, and nobody had any. But it turned into this huge thing. People were making videos about it, and they were connecting things. It's like basically saying Vanessa works at a hospital and she has meetings with pharmaceutical reps, so therefore Matt must be in bed with Big Pharma. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just like you could connect anything like that.
Right. You know what drives me the most crazy about it? I mean, by the way, Sevilla USA was something that Dimitri and Phil worked on for about 4 years. It's very difficult to get money from the Chinese manufacturers because their system of governing in China is not like the system of governing in the United States. Here we rely on lobbyists and connections to get the kind of influence we need to pass laws and to have favor in our government. There, they don't even know what a lobbyist is. I think it took them a couple of years to get them to understand the principles and the ideas behind it. But they persevered and they worked and they traveled to China and back, and the time away from their families. And again, I haven't talked to Dimitri in a couple of months. This is not something that he's like, hey, can you mention? No, absolutely not. Again, I don't watch anyone's reviews, anyone's shows, nothing anymore. I watch some of Matt and some of Nick's stuff, but just the advocacy stuff. I don't watch the reviews and stuff like that. I'm only interested in what you guys' opinions are about advocacy and what's happening that I might have missed. So this is not coming from anyone. I didn't even tell you guys I was going to bring this up and discuss it and show you these because I want your initial and your unburdened thoughts about it. Anyway, they travel back and forth.
Sevilla is all open vapor companies.
Correct.
So just like there's the way people are thinking about this just doesn't make any logical sense at all.
Well,
So they collected a check in $100,000. That's the single biggest donation I've seen by any organization in the United States, THR Advocacy, over the last 3 years that I've been involved. $100,000 went towards the right to be smoke-free lawsuit. Where else did it go, Jay? Do you remember? It was $100,000. I know that. Anyway, it went. Some of it went probably to. I don't know if any went to CASA.
Some went to AVA.
Some went to the AVA. So they're actually working with Chinese manufacturers to make a difference. And I guess one of the main points that I want to bring out of all of this is it's easy to sit back and watch a football game and on Monday say, look what Romo did wrong. What a douchebag. He can't even pass or anything like that. Go practice, put in the work, and be the quarterback. When you fail, it's on you. If you're not out here, if you don't like the way an organization is run, if you don't like what people are doing, if you don't like that they're not transparent, start your fucking own and do better. Otherwise, shut up.
Yep.
Anyway, Ruby, sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Just kidding. Well, what I heard was that Phil and Dimitri Phil specifically is spearheading this conspiracy, the high neck mouth to lung conspiracy. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
What?
He's spearheading the high neck mouth to lung conspiracy. Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Phil, who vapes a K-Fun at 12 milligrams.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People are
you're
stupid.
in it too, Kevin. I heard you're in it too.
That's awesome, right here. That's what I've been vaping, this same tank for a year and a half. The same tank with different coils.
Nautilus.
So,
Well, and I mean, I think it's not like the advocacy organizations aren't perfect. I think they have made some mistakes along the way, but a lot of people are, what have they done? What have they done? But when there are wins in different states, we never talk about it. Or sometimes people don't know about it. We only talk about it when there's a big loss, like in
correct.
or Indiana. No one's talking about how, like, New York had no new anti-vaping bills this year, due to things like lobbying and advocacy and different states. Washington's been doing really good lately because of Pink Lung Brigade. So no one cares to like look into it more. They're just like, I don't see anything. I don't see any results. There's
Right.
nothing happening. What are you
Well,
doing with my money?
And that's what
Yeah.
a lot of advocacy groups say at the onset. When a new member joins, they say the best thing you can hope for is to never hear from us, because that means
the job is
nothing
getting
comes down the
done.
pipe. And that's what we saw here in Massachusetts. The Massachusetts Smoke-Free Association for 2015, 2016, we didn't see any new legislation, nothing. And now we've already been given the green light that we are free and clear for the rest of this year. We have nothing at the state level coming
Why is that, Jay?
because we are not low-hanging fruit.
And why is that, Jay? Why are you not low-hanging fruit? Because you fucking did something to defend yourself.
Because we
you got a
organized.
lobbyist.
Because
You organized and got a lobbyist.
They know who we are. We're not easy targets. This is one of the most regulated states in the union. And they've really kept their hands off vaping to this point.
Right. Good.
Because all those advocates are chilling on the beach right now.
That's
Yeah, collecting
Especially
checks.
Greg.
Yep, collecting
Especially
checks.
Greg.
And,
So yeah, let's hop back over to the right monitor for just a second because Dimitri's on vacation right now, and I know this because I have him on Facebook and I see his post. So he posts something yesterday: Canadian Invasion, Greece, wonderful seafood dinner. He's showing off the food that they had or whatever. And this guy,
fish.
whoever the hell he is, Quinn Etherington, if that's even a real person, I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys can see this. Maybe I'll make it a little bit larger. Hold on, because I want
traitor.
I want everyone to see this.
Dimitri, correct.
Dimitri is a sellout traitor. Wow, traitor. Should I only eat meat? Sorry. Anyway, they're going back and forth here. And then Quinn says, thanks, smelling's never been my thing, but you're still scum. Misspelled your too, by the way.
Bad grammar, yep.
You know damn well why me and every other vapor in the U.S. and Canada with any awareness is calling you scum. Good try, though. Hopefully you go soon enough, and rid the world of your filth.
Wow.
On your vacation photo, happy that you're visiting with friends and had some good seafood. This is the kind of bullshit that they're dealing with.
Yep.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, dude. Seriously? Hopefully you go soon. He essentially said, I hope you die and rid the world of your filth.
Yeah.
What a
It
fucking
sounds like
asshole.
it sounds like the comment section of my videos.
And again, I realize you have to have thick skin to do this because you're not going to ever please everybody.
No.
Yeah.
But that, seriously?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, people
Seriously.
just aren't keeping things fact-based. I mean, it's one thing if somebody wants to say, oh, I like Safada more than VTA, or I like this organization more than that organization. But like now the conspiracies are nuts. Like they're just, and there's no proof or like the way that they're tying all this together. Like, yeah, it definitely happened, man. They're definitely like, what? How? There's so many excuses that it's not happening that way. I mean, Dimitri works for an open vapor company. He represents a bunch of open vapor Chinese companies.
And Tennessee Smoke-Free Association, which is a bunch of that he started.
We will probably see more closed systems coming out because the FDA has made it clear that they're probably more likely to pass a closed system through a PMTA. But it doesn't mean that anyone's in cahoots to try to kill open systems.
We're not done yet. We got a long fucking way to go. We're not done yet. Open vapor is not going anywhere. We have time to change the regulations as they stand. And until it happens,
I'm
and
afraid
then you
to
can say I
talk
told you so
about
or
a
something.
Juul or something on videos now because Matt's vaping a Juul. He must be in bed with
Is he working for Juul now?
closed vapor.
What is wrong with people? I mean, I just don't get it. And again, if you can do better, go do better. Sitting behind your keyboard and typing out bullshit is getting us nowhere.
But you know,
Be quiet.
This is social media. Any 12-year-old with a shiny metal tube feels like, they have a significant opinion that they need to share with the rest of the world.
Yeah, hopefully they're not 12.
Hopefully they're not 12.
Yeah.
But, and I'm sick of shiny metal tubes too, but,
Well, and the messed up thing is eventually when this guy gets proven way wrong, is he going to go back to Dimitri and apologize?
No.
No, not a fucking chance.
No.
Right.
So he just is a dick now, and then when he's proven wrong later, It's like there's no
Well, and
justice, man.
And the damage is done. I mean, there's been YouTube
Yeah.
videos made that have thousands of views. I mean, even if it gets debunked, there's going to be people that saw those videos that'll just always think that now.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was my kind of not really a rant. It's just more of I'm pissed off and I'm sick of seeing it. And maybe I haven't really seen much about me. I don't know if Ruby, you were kidding about the fact that I'm involved in it too, but I'm not involved in anything.
No, just the mouth to lung high Nick conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am
just
involved in
one.
that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So
I don't know what the conspiracy is. If people are
nobody knows.
if people are vaping high Nick mouth to lung and they're not smoking cigarettes, what the fuck do you care?
Exactly, and that's
I
why
heard
it
your
doesn't make
accent.
any sense.
If people are vaping this like I do every day, and this is what I'm going to vape forever because it's what I like and it's what I enjoy. If I keep vaping that and I don't smoke cigarettes, what do you care? Mind your
I
own
heard
business.
you're like a Russian infiltrator spy. I mean, you say you're in Florida, but you have no tan.
I have your email.
Did you not hear me when I said it's been raining for 12 days straight?
Clearly broadcasting live from Moscow right now.
I hacked
Yeah.
your email server.
You did? Where am I? Tell me. Maybe next week we'll go on a little walk around. I'll get a mobile webcam and we can show you Florida. Anyway, I don't know, man. It just bothers me to no end that the people who are doing 95, 98% of the work constantly get bullshit from people. It sucks. Hopefully it doesn't make them want to quit, because if they quit, then what are these assholes going to do? They're not going to step up.
Right.
No,
A lot
yeah,
of people called this back in May. Like, I forget who it was, but I remember talking to a few people. Like, we'll just watch where everyone's going to turn on each other now. We're all going to take it internally and start pointing fingers.
Well, that's a safe bet any week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were doing that even before, but I mean, it's
Right.
really gone to.
I wonder if these people, I mean, seriously, since they're making conspiracies every 5 minutes, why can't this be a conspiracy? I wonder if that guy works for Pharma or Tobacco, and they just have people that they're paying to fuck with our advocates.
Well, his profile picture was an AV logo.
What's
I don't
that
know
mean?
what that says.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it now. We actually have friends in common, which kind of makes me sick, but I don't know who he is, Quinn Etherington, but
No idea. Never seen
yeah.
him.
Anyway,
Which
Maybe he'll be in Tennessee.
I hope he does. I have a few words to say to him. Anyway, Nick, what were you saying?
I don't know.
I'm sure you guys see probably a shit ton of comments on your videos and stuff as well about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you take. I'm sure you take a lot of flack for maybe things that you say, and anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tend to get more defensive about advocacy-related stuff. Like, people on YouTube can call me names and be like, this guy's a fucking idiot, doesn't know what he's talking about. That's a 5 mil tank, not a 4 mil tank.
Right.
And whatever, that's whatever. I don't care. But when someone's like, well, why aren't you doing anything to help vaping? That's when I get like, what the fuck? I've been doing this for 7 years and blah, no donating money in CASA and I
Yeah.
get really defensive about
You
it.
should
Yeah.
stop calling them electronic cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that really sticks in my craw, and that seems to be going around like crazy. And like Matt was saying, when people don't see results right away, then they start blaming the advocacy groups, and it's like, well, what has CASA done for us, really? It's like, well,
A lot.
yeah, more than you ever know. That's what they've done. And so people don't understand that all of these processes, the lawsuit, the litigation, the changing, these bills, all this takes time. And we're not
Yeah,
gonna see the results.
again, I'm using the football analogy again, but when you have a good game plan like the New England Patriots on Jay's hat there, you think that they go to the opposing team before game time, open their playbook, and say, "Check it out, guys. What do you think? This is what we plan to do. How are you going to defend this? And how are you going to defend?" No, they don't do
No,
that.
they just spy on other teams.
When you have
Shut up, Matt.
yeah, they deflate footballs in the snow. So yeah, I mean, if you have a game plan, you're certainly not going to make it public and tell the world about it. And if you do tell anyone about it, it's going to be members of your organization, not trolls on the internet. Because what are they going to do? They're going to troll about it, and they're going to tell people about it. And there goes your strategy. So anyway,
Let me just jump in. If anybody does have any questions specific to what we are discussing, just go ahead and post them in chat, and I will relay them to the crew.
How's chat looking? Anything, or is it just back and forth?
A lot of good banter, but nothing specific as far as questions that I've seen yet.
Okay. Well, let's go on to Jay's rant then. And so let's see here. Where was it out? I don't know what I've done with it here, Jay. Sorry.
Yeah, just read it and I'll be done. That's fine.
No, that's not a rant.
No, essentially what it is over the last 6 years that I've been a vapor, I've always seen advocates talking about, we support and we need reasonable regulation. Reasonable regulation, reasonable regulation. How many times have you heard that in other industries, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is that with government, there's no such thing, because reasonable is a relative term. What's reasonable to you and me is not reasonable to your neighbor, is not reasonable to your senator or your representative. So the problem becomes that when regulations pass, they never do what you intend for them to do. They never do what you want them to do. They always try to look to the lowest common denominator, and that's what we're seeing now. We as an industry and we as advocates have always said we want reasonable regulation. Well, you know what? This is the start of reasonable regulation. This is how it works in government. And now we're going to have to spend millions of dollars to try to make those regulations more reasonable. Personally, I thought that we were doing just fine with no federal oversight. I thought we were really great at policing ourselves. Sure, there are always going to be problems in any industry, but we've always hopped on it and we've corrected those problems by and large. Would you guys agree?
For the most part.
Not completely, but yeah.
But you're always going to have bad eggs in any industry, and that's going to be true whether or not the regulations are strict or not. You're always going to have those problems. We've had the stupid cartoon character labels. We've always hopped on them, and they've disappeared relatively quickly. So what we're looking at now is the result of reasonable regulation. This is what the FDA calls reasonable regulation, and like I said, we're going to have to spend millions of dollars to correct these regulations. I make no secret of my politics. I'm a pretty hardcore libertarian. I don't think the federal government should be delving into any private organization, company, individual, anything like that. Fortunately, I think that when you look at an industry like this, a young industry, you will see people kind of converting over and starting to understand the libertarian way of thinking, laissez-faire, if I'm not bothering anybody, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that this is how it has to go. But again, it's also unfortunate that we've been calling for reasonable regulation up until this point.
Well, I think the problem is we should have defined more clearly what we meant by reasonable regulation. And I think that this industry and anything that you put into your body, certainly the government should have. The government picks up the tab, and when I say the government, I mean us as taxpayers. By the way, the government just doesn't shit money; they take it from us. Mm-hmm. So if they're going to have a responsibility into billions or trillions of dollars for healthcare at some point in the future for something that its citizens are doing, then yes, the government should have some specific safety standards, which are all that I ever advocated for.
When you put the government in charge of healthcare, you're making them
they're not
now
in charge
responsible,
right?
Making them now responsible for everybody's.
But that goes
being.
At any point, at anything that anyone does. So anyway, but the point is, the only regulations that I considered reasonable ever were some safety standards in manufacturing processes, of course, because you don't want mods exploding and you don't want incorrect nicotine levels that could cause someone to get sick. Mm-hmm. You don't want child caps that are not resistant to children being able to swallow a thing of nicotine or liquid nicotine that's contained in e-liquid, even though they failed to mention every time that there's been one death, and that was because I think it was 100 milligrams per milliliter of DIY nicotine in New York.
Yeah, it was a DIY.
It's not. I mean, even if I'm not advocating that anyone does this but this is a 12 milligram bottle here, and if I poured it all over my hands, it's not going to harm me. I can wash it off, and they always fail to mention in the news stories and the glamorization of it the nicotine concentration. That's the key.
But
that's
the problem. But once you politicize an industry, you get regulations that are politically driven.
But there have to be some standards, some safety standards. The government has to say no one under 18 can buy these products, because once you're an adult, then you can decide if you want to.
And that's fine. If the age of majority is 18, then
Which, by the way, just came into law, and there were already, I think, 48 states. I said 46 before, but I think I'm wrong. 48 states that already had bans on sales to minors in their jurisdiction. So, this helped two whole states.
The press releases that you see show that the August 8th regulations that kicked in are there
saving the
save
children.
Minors, to save children.
Yeah. So,
which is bullshit.
It is bullshit, and I understand what you're saying. When the government gets a hold of anything, the first thing they're going to do is make it unreasonable. So yeah, I mean, there do need to be some certain base safety standards in manufacturing and stuff like that.
But a lot of these things wouldn't even necessarily require regulations, other than
they wouldn't.
The minor ban.
Correct.
If you're fraudulently marketing your e-liquid, that's fraud. That's an actual crime.
Correct.
So that can be prosecuted. You don't need a new regulation for that.
Well, I mean, that the government has to do something to justify its existence, and that is create regulations and create laws.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Matt, Nick, Ruby?
In theory, it makes sense, obviously. Like, yeah, sure, reasonable regulation sounds great, but you're right. I agree. Government never goes down that path. And yeah, like product standards sound nice, and make sure everyone always sticks to the same thing. But instead, we have PMTAs, and even though big tobacco, all those cigarettes got grandfathered in, and they didn't have to go through any safety standard type pre-market tobacco application for those, but we need to do an e-liquid. It's crazy.
If you want to point the finger at someone who's in bed with big tobacco, it's big tobacco. They're in bed with themselves. They give a shit about their bottom line, their corporate profit.
And I can't necessarily blame them for that. I blame the government for creating an environment where they can have so much influence on an entirely new industry.
Money, 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 money. It's all about the Benjamins. Yeah. Ruby, you look like you had something you were going to interject there.
Oh, thank you. I think, the idea of reasonable regulations when you're talking about the federal government there's no such thing as that. I think, I don't know, man. I don't think that we should place our trust in the government to be reasonable with anything.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing. It's not something that they're ever going to do, because they want money and power. Mm-hmm. And like you said, too, like with the states' rights thing, like the state, 40 states?
I think it was 48.
Already have no sales to minors in the state, on the state level. So, and then everyone's like, oh, the FDA is being so awesome, and kids shouldn't have, like, we know that. We've already done that. That's already a thing.
Right.
So
and there were a lot of shops in states that didn't have a law that already were restricting it just as a point of policy for their own store.
Right.
They could, they weren't selling to minors, just of their own volition. They didn't care what the state law was. Just trying to be responsible,
I like the idea of reasonable regulation, but I don't think it's something we can expect from the federal government.
Well, I'm going to reiterate something I've been
tinfoil hat, but
I've been saying
when money's involved, for sure.
Yeah.
For the last 2.5 or 3 years, the only way that we're going to, and I believe this to be true, make real change at the federal level is to elect vapors to public office. By that I mean Congress. That's it. because no one understands our cause better than we do. The only other option would be to convert some legislators who are smokers, and because I think once you become a vapor and you haven't smoked a cigarette for a while, you're instantly an advocate for the product, whether you want to be or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we need to get vapors elected to public office, to Congress specifically. And we need, again, this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It is not the other way around. Sitting here bitching about, and I do plan to run for office one day, by the way, as soon as my kids are in high school and well adjusted to life, because I am a single parent and it does take a lot of time. I don't want to, and Congress also takes a lot of time. So it's not something that I just want to bail on them and say, you know, good luck with the rest of your teenage years. But we need more people who know what they're talking about and are educated and are advocating for this, to be in a position to be able to make real and affect real change on the federal level. We have to. It's the only way we're going to pass legislation that clearly distinctifies vapor product from combustible tobacco products. It's the only way that we're going to do it.
And in my opinion, that's exactly why the VTA was formed, and exactly why the VTA looks the way it does. People flip out because, you know, there are resources that are part of VTA that came from tobacco. It came from the tobacco industry in some way, shape, or form. Somebody name a better industry to derive experience from.
Well, yeah, I mean, people talk about
fighting
people
for
are
vapor.
profiting, people are making money. That's
how
why
this
we're in
works.
business.
If you don't hire professionals to fight on your behalf, you're not going to get anywhere. You know,
Yeah, well-
vapors complaining on a vape show, that's not going to get us anywhere.
No,
You know,
it's not.
You have to hire professionals who know how to deal with government, who know how to lobby. That's it.
And again, so what if people are making money? I mean, the point of this is to eradicate combustible tobacco. That's the point of vaping, in my opinion. That's what it should be. But you can't keep businesses around, brick and mortars around, manufacturers around, if they're not making a profit. People are just going to go back to their, you know, normal job, whatever they were doing before vaping came along, and they had a successful business. So yeah, there has to be some. You can't just say, unless you're a billionaire or something, and say I'm so altruistic that I'm just going to advocate forever for vapor products, and I don't care if I ever make any profit off of it. People have to live.
Right.
I wouldn't be doing vaping convention circuit. I wouldn't have VCC liquids. I wouldn't Nick with Namber Juice and Land Cove and Suck My Juice and Hingham Hill. It's more than just I guess the point of the whole thing that I'm trying to say right now is, so what if people are making money from it? As long as they're putting some of that money towards advocacy and also spending some of their time towards advocacy, what do you care?
Right.
And again, if you can do better, do it.
Do it.
Nick, you look like, again, too, I mean, you were having some facial expression. So what do you think, Nick? What do you tell us what
Yeah, people need to make a living. There's no reason why we would expect anybody who's doing advocacy full time, 100% of the time as their job. There's no reason why we should expect them to do it for free. That's ridiculous. I was also going to say, Kevin, that if you run for office, they're going to make you take your hat off
Yep.
when you're. So that's something.
And you're going to have to
consider.
leave Russia and come to the States.
That might be an issue. I can't represent the Moscow
That would
district.
be a first step.
I believe it or not, I don't always wear a hat. I mean, it would look kind of awkward with a suit. But yeah, I mean, so people might want to recognize you. There you go. See?
Well, and it's good.
Yeah,
It's good
I've
to
seen
point
you
out
without a
most
hat.
advocates don't
That's the
make
third
money.
time I've ever seen you without a hat.
Most of the advocates, like CASA has one paid employee. The rest are, they don't make money. Most of the people on the different state association boards, they're not getting paid for that. And so, a guy like Greg Connolly, who it's like a one-man show at AVA. It's like a 60 to 80 hour a week job. So the guy's got to pay his bills. And it is good to point out, because I've heard a lot of people bitching about these people traveling and going to vape shows. A lot of times the vape shows will pay for the advocates to come to that show. So it's not like it's necessarily your donations that are going towards that.
And so what if it is? They're advancing the cause of vaping. The
and
vape
even if
event
it
is a
is,
better
still-
thing because they're there.
Yeah. And I've never seen any of these guys living lavishly. I don't see, you don't go to Greg Connolly's hotel room and there's a bunch of hookers and blow everywhere.
It's the juice company owners that are buying the Lamborghinis. Not the
And again, I don't. So what? They earned it.
No,
I like that. That's Matt's
To
idea.
quote Austin Powers, capitalism. Yeah.
Hookers and blow, dude. What is that?
So I mean, yeah. As long as they're not, if there are a lot of companies I see the executives of and the founders of that are constantly posting pictures of, but I happen to know for a fact that some of those same people are also donating tens of thousands of dollars to advocacy organizations. So who gives a shit? And they don't have to account to you or anyone else. They busted their ass building a business. If they have benefits and profits from it, God bless them. God bless the United States of America. God bless capitalism. That's why we are living here. So
people don't even like the fact that like reviewers make money or have have products to sell. They're like, "Oh, you make money off the industry." I'm like, "Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have a
All of us
business and I pay bills with that money."
yeah, your YouTube channel just popped up overnight and had 100,000 followers because just because you were fucking lucky. No, you probably went
someone
through
just
years
wanted it to be,
of
no
checking
big
your
deal.
YouTube and seeing like 20 views, and you're like, "Ooh, got up to 20 views today." I mean, but at some point, it's going to take off if you're doing what you're doing and you're doing it well. And the finger pointing from people who don't do shit just drives me crazy. That's why I always say get involved. Get involved.
Yeah, you should get off social media, Kevin.
I don't look at it as much as I used to. I haven't posted as much lately, but
Kevin gets all riled up.
It's a rough place, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't look at it as much as I used to. And I haven't seen negative comments like that about myself. And if I did, I'd probably just say, fuck you, dude. But when I see other people who I happen to know for a fact that they're doing the right thing and they're doing it with the best intentions in their heart and in their mind, and it's taking time away from their life, they could easily walk away from this and say, you know what, screw you guys. I'm going back to what I was doing. I'm going to see my family, spend more time with my family. Easily they could do that. But they care.
I mean, a guy like Greg's a lawyer. It's not like he can...
It's not, was he not going to be able to find a job?
He'll make more money elsewhere. He doesn't...
Absolutely. He could quit what he's doing right now and just go into private consulting for vapor companies and make a shit ton of money.
Yep.
By the way, Kevin, somebody in chat is starting a fundraiser to get you hair plugs before you run for office.
Oh.
And I need them.
I bet they need to get busy on that. Start a GoFundMe.
I have some extra if you want.
Ooh, I'm jealous.
Can you
Yeah.
transplant?
Just rubbing it in.
Damn.
He's rubbing something in. I don't know what, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. I hope they raise a lot of money because I understand hair. But I don't wear the hat because I'm losing my hair. I've been losing my hair since I was like 28. It doesn't bother me. I wear it because I just like it. And I've had people say, too, about that, oh, you're an advocate, you're wearing it. When I go to a meeting and I have something to say, it's a suit and tie and I dress appropriately and there's no hat. So it's all about
It'd be
context.
pretty awesome if you did run for office and always had your backwards hat on with your suit, though.
You know what? We're coming into a generation of people, though, that I think that politics as usual is not going to be the same thing as it was in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I think you're going to have people, these millennial people that, and it's like, I'm like, holy shit, my son Sebastian was born in 2002. He's 14. In 4 years, he'll be voting. They've lived
Kanye West is going to be president in like 2024.
They've lived their lives. Yeah, right. I'm moving to Canada if Kanye West gets elected. Anyway, so yeah, they lived their whole lives on social media with their iPads and their Android phones and stuff like that. And I think that the expectation of having a typical, 55-year-old gray head, balding, whatever person running for office is going to be out the window. We already have, there are already some younger people who have run for Congress and won and stuff like that. But I think we're going to see the expectations change of what people are looking for in a candidate. I think probably in 5 to 10 years' time, if you get up there and you say, people change the way that they talk and they act when they're in front of a crowd of people who they're trying to garner their votes from. You know what I mean? It's all proper. And you know what? Fuck that. People are people. We make mistakes. Shit's happened in life. People say fuck. People say shit. Why try to hide that? Just be who you are.
God, somebody posted on Facebook right now and tagged me and Greg. Matt says Gregory equals no hookers and blow. At least not on the road. Greg Conley's going to look at that and be like, what the fuck is Matt talking about?
You mean Greg does not watch VCCLive? I am shocked and appalled.
We should have him on.
I know. I was going to say that's who we should get on the show is Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's time away from his hookers and blow.
Yeah, if he could take
And
time
beach
away from
lounging.
sitting
Or
with
he
the
could bring the hookers and blow.
Yeah. It's a
It'd be a great show. It'd be a great show. Good content, guys.
Probably be our last one. Anyway.
Matt asks in chat, any news about 1 Billion Lives? Has there been any developments since the initial?
They had a launch last night in Oklahoma City, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing that all over. So apparently they're trying to get around to different cities that are having launches for it. I haven't talked to Aaron in a while. I know he's been very busy with the North American launch that they did last week in Milwaukee and then Oklahoma City
I did
yesterday.
try to reach out to him to see what we could do in Massachusetts to get a Boston release, but I haven't heard back. I'm sure he's absolutely swamped.
Yeah. So, no, I haven't heard any more about what's happening, where they're going. If anyone's picked it up for a national syndicate, like, the major movie theaters or anything like that, I'm dying to see it, though. I really do want to check it out. And haven't had the chance to yet. But so, unfortunately, I guess no news. If you want to find out more information about where they're going next, I'm positive they'll have it on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
So check out, just search for 1 Billion Lives, and also 1billionlives.com, I believe it is, it's not .org. Probably 1billionlives.com will have information on there as well. I got my Billion Lives shirt on today. Pretty cool.
Nice.
I mean, I kind of think it's just going to follow the same path as most documentaries, where it's, limited theater releases. Then it'll hit, a couple months from now, it'll hit iTunes, Amazon On Demand. Then a couple months after that, it'll finally go to Netflix. So I don't think, its best chance of getting like a big buzz about it is going to be once it's going to be readily available online.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Aaron's original purpose for doing what he's doing with the releases now is you have to have it released and showed in so many theaters to be eligible for an Oscar, and that was their goal.
Yeah.
And if this film wins an Oscar, it's the recognition is going to go through the roof. I know it's already had some impact in places like New Zealand, which is where they did their world premiere launch, was in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the legislators in New Zealand actually were there and saw the film and have since changed their anti-e-cig policy in New Zealand. And is that going to have a huge impact worldwide? New Zealand is not a massive country, but it's a government that changed their position by 180 degrees on vaping electronic cigarettes because they watched this film, from my understanding anyway. And if it had that big of an impact, then, we definitely need it.
Even if it just got nominated for an Oscar, because I think like 5 or 10 movies in each category now get nominated. So, I mean, that would be a huge deal.
Yeah.
Right, but people are, why isn't it here now? Why isn't it out now? I want to see it on Netflix now. Because there are certain things, and again, it's just people... We live in an instant gratification society, and people want shit now, but they don't understand why people do what they do. And Aaron and them put a lot of time and their own money into this making of this film, and again, they want to see some rewards back from it, and I don't blame them for that.
And there's a process that
there is a process that they have to follow.
We don't understand.
Correct, and unless you understand it, don't talk about it. That people have a huge problem now. They think that everyone has an opinion on everyone's always had an opinion on everything, I guess, but now they have the ability to share it with tens of thousands of people at the push of a few buttons, and that kind of, I don't know, sucks sometimes.
And it's just a matter of time before a vapor, pirates it anyway. So.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah.
Puts it on Reddit.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're getting close to the hour. We're pretty close. Any wrap-up thoughts, Jay? Any questions? Anything we didn't cover from the chat?
No, a lot of good conversation going on. Not too many questions that I can discern.
I'm just going to say, while you're looking at that, if you watch this, if you thought you learned something from it, if you think others might learn something from it, please smash that like button. Subscribe to the VCC Vaping CC YouTube channel so we can get more people involved and start a dialogue that will hopefully make some change and affect some change in this world. So that's our whole goal. Mm-hmm. And share it for sure. Share the replay. It usually takes about an hour for it to render on YouTube, and then I'll adjust the like what it says and put the custom thumbnail and stuff like that. And then I'll share it on the Facebook group. So facebook.com, search for VCCLive. You'll find the group. Click to join. We'll add you. You can see the updates and what's coming up. Next week, Friday at noon, we'll have Azim Chowdhury from Keller and Heckman. They are the industry attorney for the right to be smoke-free lawsuit that's happening right now in the federal courts. We'll have a wrap-up of what's been happening over the last several days post August 8th and where we're going from there. Anything else? Nick, Ruby, what's going on? Wrap-up thoughts?
No, I don't really have anything. Stay the course. Like I said earlier, these things take time. Litigation's going to take time. Changing the law is going to take time. Moving these bills through their respective, areas is going to take time. Keep supporting the advocates. Stop photoshopping their fucking heads onto
please
people
stop doing
and
that.
just knock it off.
The infighting gets us nowhere and just creates more division. So
it's not really even infighting, though. It's just douchebagger.
Douchebaggery. Stop being douchebags.
Stop being douchebags, man. Unless you
Stop
can
being douchebaggeries.
Yeah. and unless you can do better, be quiet.
Yeah.
Pretty simple stuff.
Stay the course. Trust the process.
Matt,
Points of light.
what's your wrap up, Matt?
Reach for the moon.
Reach for the moon. Swing for the fences.
How are the hair plugs looking, Matt? How are we doing on GoFundMe?
I just want to rub aloe vera on both of you guys. It looks a little painful.
My knuckles?
Is that creepy?
Oh,
no.
I thought you were talking about my knuckles.
Ruby and Nick.
Yeah, because we're
I
pink.
got sunburnt like that a couple days ago.
Yeah.
My shoulders are peeling right now.
It sucks. My knees are on fire.
It's not because of vaping, though. Make sure that's clear.
Yeah,
No,
right.
it's because of the sun.
Yeah.
You don't need electrolytes.
Nope.
Any wrap ups, Matt?
Thanks for having me on. And
You're a co-host now permanently, so you're going to be on.
I'll say that again next week then.
Oh, cool. Matt Culley, thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me on the show, for sure.
Yeah,
I'll
thank you,
always act
Ruby.
like I'm a special guest.
No, well, you're all special in your own way, but
But yeah, people definitely just need to think for themselves. And if you see a rumor online, look into it, prove it to yourself before you go and repeat it. You know.
Good point.
Be smart, use common sense. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today, guys. Join us next week. Again, subscribe and share the video. Over the next week, do something. Doesn't matter what it is, because you don't have to do everything, but you do have to do something. Get involved. And I clicked out, but it's not working. I don't know why my computer's lagging today.
Wow, these things happen. See?
Bye-bye.